Coming in at number 10, we have DELILAH DEARBORN, aka the superhero Geiger. DELILAH was just a normal, everyday student at Empire State University when she was struck by a power surge from an experimental particle accelerator, flooding her body with gamma radiation. Unlike most people put in that situation, however, she didn't wind up becoming a giant green monster, instead being gifted the unique ability to copy the powers and strength of any other gamma-powered beings within her vicinity. With this power, Geiger could theoretically become as strong as the Hulk or as smart as the leader, and always keeps a vial of Doc Samson's hair close by so that she's always capable of using at least some gamma-infused strength. Speaking of which, coming in at number 9, we have Doc Samson. Originally a doctor ordered by General Ross to find a cure for his daughter when Betty Ross was briefly trapped inside a crystal prison, his plan was to use Hulk's gamma radiation to heal her, but in the process decided to take some of the extra gamma power for himself, turning his hair a vibrant emerald and directly connecting his enhanced strength to the length of his green mane. Ever since, Doc Samson has attempted to help Bruce Banner learn more about the science behind gamma-mutated beings, and has occasionally used his own enhanced strength to fight as a handsome hero whenever he's truly needed. Coming in at number 8, we have Rick Jones. Briefly a young sidekick for Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk, Rick first got involved in gamma-related misadventures on the very day that Bruce became the Hulk. It was only because Bruce attempted to save Rick's life that Bruce wound up getting hit with gamma radiation in the first place. Years later, Rick would be transformed due to the efforts of MODOK and the Leader into a blue gamma creature known as ABOM, who would go on to fight alongside the Avengers against the mysterious Red Hulk, and was a powerful ally of the original Hulk for a decent amount of time. Coming in at number 7, we have Weapon H. And no, that's not a typo of Weapon X. When Clayton Cortez was just a regular Marine, he fought back against corrupt orders from the Roxxon Corporation, and thus was captured and sold to the same Weapon X program that had grafted adamantium onto Wolverine's skeleton. Attempting to improve upon that original experiment to create the ultimate mutant killer, Weapon H was intended to have all of the benefits of Wolverine with the pure strength of a gamma-powered creature such as the Hulk. Eventually escaping from his confinement and still possessing enough of his memory to avoid becoming a complete monster, Weapon H continued to use his gamma and adamantium-infused strength to fight back against the Roxxon Corporation and their creations, including his own lesser but still evil clone. Coming in at number 6, we have John EISENHART, aka the Hulk of the year 2099. In an alternate future where California has become an island off the coast of the United States, a ruthless film executive named John EISENHART accidentally gets a cult called the Knights of Banner killed after he accidentally leaks their identity while researching the Incredible Hulk. During the massacre, John is hit by a gamma ray and is transformed into Hulk 2099. And while he finds the rage of this new gamma form difficult to control, he becomes determined to use his new status quo in life to help the downtrodden and make up for all the destruction he caused to the Knights of Banner, choosing to continue the Hulk's legacy as best he can. Coming in at number 5, we have Hero KLUH, an infant son that the Hulk thought he had lost during the destruction of the planet Sakaar. Hero spent many years wandering the galaxy after he survived the explosion due to his mother's last-minute protection. Embracing the heritage of his mother's people, Hero converted their religion's old power into a new power by merging his psychic abilities with that of Galactus's power cosmic, a tremendously powerful feat only possible due to the gamma energy within his genetics inherited from his father. While not green-skinned or as strong as his dad, Hero KLUH has continued to try and lead the Sakaaran people and find them a new suitable home amongst the stars. Coming in at number 4, we have Skaar, another son of the Incredible Hulk and the older brother of Hero KLUH. The offspring of the Hulk and the queen of the planet Sakaar, Skaar's mother died so that he might live during the destruction of this planet, and eventually made his way back to Earth following in his father's footsteps. Calling himself the killer of killers, Scar has all of the strength of his father combined with the stone and magma manipulating powers of his mother. No matter what situation he finds himself in, Scar will always be one of the strongest Gamma beings in the entire Marvel Universe. Coming in at number 3, we have Jennifer Walters, aka the Mighty She-Hulk. The cousin of Bruce Banner, Jennifer Walters was a highly respected lawyer that was unexpectedly shot by a mobster she was helping prosecute while her cousin was visiting her in Los Angeles. With a blood transfusion being the only hope for her survival, Jennifer was infected with Bruce's gamma-radiated blood and became the She-Hulk, an over 6-foot-tall warrior who became determined to take care of all the problems that her normal Jennifer self simply couldn't. Ever since, She-Hulk has become one of the Marvel Universe's most powerful heroes, capable of standing apart from her cousin and becoming a hero all on her own. Coming in at number 2, we have Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, aka the Red Hulk. For years, General Ross had been the lead military commander in charge of tracking down and capturing the Incredible Hulk, and had been a persistent thorn in Bruce Banner's side. But following the death of his daughter and the Hulk's exile into outer space, Ross was manipulated by MODOK and several other supervillains into becoming the Red Hulk in case his nemesis should ever return. And while for a time the Red Hulk was a feared adversary for the heroes who remained on Earth, Ross would eventually see to reason and become a functioning member of the Avengers, being nearly as strong as the original Hulk, but with the ability to consciously change between forms. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have the Incredible Hulk himself, Bruce Banner. Because, of course. The many Gamma heroes of the Marvel Universe are all incredibly strong, but in the case of Bruce Banner, this strength is limitless. Ever since being bombarded with Gamma rays, Bruce Banner's limits for how strong he can become has been said to be non-existent, with all-knowing characters such as the Beyonder and the Stranger outright stating that the Hulk has no limits to his physical strength. The only difference between different Hulk forms of Bruce Banner is their starting strength, with forms like Joe Fixit being initially much weaker than forms like the Savage Hulk, but with the right amount of anger, any version of the Hulk could theoretically complete feats such as outpulling a black hole. It's this endless capacity for potential destruction that has made the Hulk such an alluring target to evil forces over the years. But if the Hulk's proven anything, it's that maybe you shouldn't try and control the guy with literally unstoppable fists. Coming in at number 10, we have Behemoth, an evil clone of the Hulk. Created through the scheming of the villainous Master of the World, an enlightened caveman of a villain who usually fights against the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight, this clone was named Behemoth when he was sent along with several other cloned heroes to fight the Heroes for Hire. And while any clone of the Incredible Hulk is obviously going to be a bit intimidating, this clone luckily wasn't long for this world, surviving just a single issue before the Heroes for Hire defeated him by blowing up the entire island they were fighting on. Then again, if you're fighting the Hulk, that's probably the least messy ending you're likely to get. Coming in at number 9, we have Daydream. Now, this entry might be more of an honorable mention, as it's a bit unclear if Daydream was genetically tied to Bruce Banner at all, or just Betty Ross, but either way, she's definitely one of the weirdest daughters someone could have. Created by combining the mental energies of both Betty Ross and the Marvel villain known as Nightmare, Daydream is half human and half dream entity, capable of teleporting at will and reshaping the dreams and mental state of anyone around her, including the Incredible Hulk. Coming in at number 8, we have another technical Hulk daughter with Carmilla Black, aka the New Scorpion. A genetically engineered human created from the genetic material of Monica Rappaccini, the scientist supreme of AIM, and Bruce Banner. Carmilla has a scorpion stinger connected to her arm and a natural immunity to every poison in the world. While best known for serving with S.H.I.E.L.D. after discovering her origins were connected to the evil AIM, Carmilla has served with several different teams over the course of her career, and even if she might not be aware that she has some of Bruce Banner's DNA within her, she definitely is a green fighter the Hulk could be proud of. Coming in at number 7, we have the incredible KLUH. And just in case you can't tell from the text on screen, yes, that's just the Hulk spelled backwards. Created by the psychic villain Xemnu to be a superior clone to the original Grey Hulk, KLUH was far more intelligent than the usual Grey Hulk persona, at the cost of him being slightly less powerful than his original inspiration. KLUH was nearly able to kill both the Green and the Red Hulk with the help of Xemnu, but was eventually defeated whenever the hero Impossible Man combined both Red and Green Hulks into the Compound Hulk, a more powerful gamma creature that was able to put down KLUH for good. Don't you just love a totally normal and not weird at all comic book ending? Coming in at number 6, we have Hero KLUH. An infant son that the Hulk thought he had lost during the destruction of the planet Sakaar, Hero spent many years wandering the galaxy after he survived the explosion due to his mother's cocoon. Embracing the heritage of his mother's people, Hero converted their religion's old power into a new power by merging his psychic abilities with that of Galactus's power cosmic. While not green-skinned or as strong as his father, Hero KLUH has continued to try and lead the Sakaaran people and find them a new suitable home amongst the stars. Coming in at number 5, we have the Nerd Hulk, an evil clone from the Ultimate Universe. Created from Bruce Banner's stem cells by the sociopathic brother of Tony Stark, Gregory, Nerd Hulk was intended to be the best of both worlds version of the Hulk, with all the strength and rage of his gamma form combined with the intellect and restraint of Bruce Banner. However, this had the downside of making the Hulk actually afraid of combat despite his strength, and for a long time he was considered a bit of a laughingstock until by chance he was bitten by the Ultimate Universe's version of a vampire. This combination of a vampire's bloodlust and the Hulk's strength finally made the vampire Nerd Hulk a worthy villain for the Ultimates, and was only able to be defeated when he was cleverly teleported across the world into sunlight by Captain America. Coming in at number 4, we have Bo Banner. In the alternate apocalyptic future that the Old Man Logan stories take place in, the Hulk name has fallen into ruin, as the Hulk Gang is a roaming band of cannibal hillbillies that are apparently the spawn of the Hulk and his own cousin, having gone insane after receiving too much additional radiation from this version of America's nuclear war. One of the leaders of this hillbilly gang is Bo Banner, who winds up killing Wolverine's family after they're late paying protection fees. And while Wolverine dispatches Bo in a gruesome use of C4 explosives, cannibal descendants of the Hulk are still a pretty nasty and powerful surprise to find in this dark alternate future. Coming in at number 3, we have Lyra from Earth 8009. Born from the genetic material of the Hulk and her mother Thundra, the leader of an alternate future in which a warrior clan of women have taken over the planet, Lyra was intended to be the perfect union of the strongest man and the strongest woman in existence. And while Lyra's gamma powers have the unfortunate setback of actually making her weaker as she gets angrier, Lyra still has one hell of a punch due to the combined genetics of her parents. Trained in combat with every sort of physical weaponry imaginable, Lyra has since become an ally and friend of Earth 616's She-Hulk and fights by her side as an occasional accomplice. Coming in at number 2, we have Bruce Banner Jr. The youngest child of the Hulk gang from the post-apocalyptic Old Man Logan future we introduced earlier in this list, Bruce Banner Jr. was first introduced as just an ugly Hulk baby, kinda looking a little bit like the Grinch. However, in a storyline set 500 years later, this Hulk baby has grown into a new, more heroic version of the Hulk villain Maestro, himself a completely different evil future version of Bruce Banner. Having overcome his horrific origins to become an intelligent and heroic leader, Bruce Banner Jr. would occasionally cross over into the main Marvel universe and is currently still looking for a new world to call his own. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have Scar, the son of the Incredible Hulk and the older brother of Hero KLUH. The offspring of the Hulk and Sierra the Old Strong, Scar's mother died so that he might live during the destruction of his planet, and eventually made his way back to Earth following in his father's footsteps. Calling himself the Killer of Killers, Scar has all of the strength of his father combined with the stone and magma manipulating power of his mother, and has walked the line between hero and anti-hero often enough that he was even Steve Rogers' double agent whenever Norman Osborn had taken over the Dark Arc Avengers. No matter what situation he finds himself in, Scar will always be one of the strongest Gamma beings in the entire Marvel Universe.
Coming in at number 10, we have the She-Hulk villain Abominatrix, who surprisingly enough doesn't actually have a connection with the more well-known villain the Abomination, despite apparently being a gender-flipped version of him. Born under the name of Florence Sharples, Florence volunteered for a medical study that involved test subjects being exposed to gamma rays. As a result, Florence became a gamma-mutated creature that was constantly in a state of anger, unable to return to her human form as her rage continued to grow. Eventually, she would come into conflict with She-Hulk and nearly destroy Las Vegas during their ensuing fight, showing that the Abominatrix is not to be messed with. Coming in at number 9, we have Bert Horowitz, aka the super genius villain known as Omnibus. Following an incident in which the leader detonated a gamma bomb inside a small town in the middle of Arizona, a local salesman named Bert Horowitz found himself rapidly becoming more intelligent by the minute, a similar mutation to the villain who had detonated the gamma bomb in the first place. In fact, when the leader was believed to be dead for a time, Bert took the name of Omnibus and replaced the leader's position in his massive spy network, becoming a new foe that the Incredible Hulk would have to deal with until the true leader finally returned to take back what was rightfully his. Coming in at number 8, we have the very unfortunately named Jailbait, aka Jesse Harrison, turned into a gamma mutant during the same gamma bomb event in Arizona that also spawned Omnibus. Jesse not only gained the traditional green skin and enhanced strength, but also possessed the ability to generate psionic blasts and force fields, depending on her level of concentration. And while Jesse's story was recently shown to have ended in tragedy during the Immortal Hulk series, for a long time she stood strong as one of the guardians of the leader's Freehold Paradise, another green Goliath for the Hulk to have to battle. Coming in at number 7, we have the evil Patchwork, a serial killer that somehow manages to be even more depraved than Carnage and Cletus Cassidy combined. Patchwork was one of the very first villains ever faced by Doc Samson, when the Doctor decided to do some solo superheroing and proved to be a worthy opponent. Using the gamma radiation oozing off his body to murder innocent women and make horrific sculptures with them, Patchwork was an incredibly durable and strong foe once he came face to face with a gamma-powered equal, and proved to be a worthy first opponent to be defeated by Doc Samson. Coming in at number 6, we have Tony Masterson, aka Half-Life. Living most of his life as a quiet college professor, Tony's life was forever changed when he accidentally fell victim to a gamma bomb experiment being conducted by S.H.I.E.L.D. The explosion bleached his skin a ghostly green and convinced Tony that he had died and was now a walking corpse. Giving himself the name Half-Life, the villain was a worthy foe for the Hulk after being manipulated by the leader, and had the unique ability to drain the life force of his enemies through touch alone, like some sort of gamma-infused vampire or ghoul. This meant that the Hulk had to be a bit more creative when it came to fighting him, as punching Half-Life would only wind up giving him more power. Coming in at number 5, we have Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, aka the Red Hulk. Now, we did also have this guy on our list about most powerful gamma heroes, but considering how his story started out, he definitely also counts for the villain list. Following the death of his daughter after years of pursuing the Hulk, Ross was manipulated by MODOK and several other supervillains into becoming the Red Hulk, in case his nemesis should ever return from his exile in outer space. Following the Hulk's return and defeat, the new Red Hulk began causing damage across the globe, even getting into a fight with Thor on the moon and causing an earthquake in San Francisco from the sheer force of him jumping back to Earth. All in all, the Red Hulk definitely caused some major destruction. Coming in at number 4, we have Emil Blonsky, aka Abomination. A Croatian spy during the Cold War undercover on the same military base where Bruce Banner became the Hulk, Blonsky was the victim of a second gamma experiment when he foolishly activated the reactor on his own. Transformed into a green creature with claws even deadlier than the Hulk, Blonsky took the name Abomination once he realized he could not return to human form, and his days as an incognito spy were over. Stronger and with a healing factor on par with the Hulk, Abomination is a twisted look at what gamma radiation can do to someone who's already a trained killer. Coming in at number 3, we have Maestro, a twisted and evil version of the Hulk from a possible alternate future, giving himself a new name after conquering what remains of America following a nuclear winter in this dark future. This version of the Hulk has become far stronger than his original gamma green form, with years of sucking up deadly radiation only improving his ferocity and his power. When the real Hulk encountered this warlord version of himself, the only way he was able to finally come out on top was by literally warping the Maestro back in time to be killed by the same gamma bomb that created the Hulk back in the 60s. But even since then, this future version of the Hulk still seems to keep finding ways to return and claim dominion over the world that he claims he deserves to rule. Coming in at number 2, we have Samuel Stearns, aka the Leader. Many people throughout the Marvel Universe can claim to be geniuses, but only the Leader has the unbelievably tall skull to seemingly prove it. Born a simple blue-collar American worker until an accident doused him in gamma radiation, Samuel found himself getting the opposite of most other gamma mutates' powers. Instead of becoming incredibly strong, he became incredibly smart, gaining an increased head size as his intellect, ego, and ambition all swelled. No matter how powerful and strong most of the Hulk's enemies may seem, few can compare to the terrifying genius of the Leader when he's fully unleashed, as his plans have nearly destroyed or conquered the world on countless occasions, and have only been able to be stopped by the Hulk and Bruce Banner trying to use his own genius-like intellect. And finally, coming in at our top spot, we have the most powerful gamma being of all, because he's the source of all of them. That's right, it's the one below all, residing in the very lowest point of reality at the very bottom of the multiverse. The one below all is the ultimate personification of destruction and hate, essentially being the Hulk-esque alter ego of the one above all, the divine creator of the entire Marvel multiverse. The one below all is the source of all gamma radiation, as it uses the energy source to gain access to other worlds across the multiverse, and resurrect gamma-related beings if they die after becoming connected to the one below all. Even with all of the crazy additions to the Hulk's mythology in the past few years, the one below all is perhaps the greatest, most powerful addition of all time. And who knows what the future holds for the creator of gamma itself.